We continue some great conversations here. We got the chief to stick around as earlier in the week or late last week, we saw that Sierra Pacific had a community grant to help out the Shelton, and Jacqueline Early is here from Sierra Pacific. Morning, Jacqueline. How you doing?
Good morning.
Nice to see you, and Darren is still here. So talk to me a little bit about how this came about and what the amount of the funds and what they'll be used for as we move forward here. So the donation by Sierra
I'll let
Pacific.
Jackie talk about the grant a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a community improvement grant that we donate into the community to make it a better place. They've done $48,000 last year, including materials for different projects within our community. And here, I believe it was $25,000.
$2,500.
Or $2,500.
I wish it was
apologize.
$25,000.
Yes,
We'll
I
get to 25 at
apologize.
some point.
Yeah, for this grant.
Is that a big thing that Sierra Pacific does? They feel like giving back to the communities that they're in.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's a pretty cool deal. And so, Chief, what $2,500? That's that can go some good distance.
It does, and and Lisa Perry was instrumental in this, and so her and Mike Fiola worked together quite a bit on some different projects that they had been doing, helping Sierra Pacific with property and things like that. Well, Lisa got a hold of us and said, what do you guys need with this schools program? You're going forward with putting school resource officers and training and what we're doing at the schools. And we talked about, we like to train like we're going to be out there. And so there's these simunition guns that you can get that are very realistic, just like ours. But we didn't have any money in the budget for them, but we talked about it would be nice to have those as a training tool to go out there and teach people what it's about. And she said, you know what, we have this community grant, and it sounds like a great thing. And so it's kind of a trifecta partnership. It's the schools, us, and Sierra Pacific together, helping us train the schools and staff.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about these guns. What's the so they look and they feel
like they're real guns. Essentially, we take the guns we have, and you take the top rail off of the gun and replace it with this simunition, and it shoots rounds. It's like airsoft.
Okay.
Similar to an airsoft gun. It stings. It hurts.
Uh-huh.
But it's more realistic than going out with plastic guns or something like that. It gives you a little more adrenaline rush as you're going through there because you know you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
And it's training with our own guns. So you know what it feels like in your hand. You know what it's going to be like having to go around these corners and do these things.
So it's a modification to the firearm that the officer is given. Oh, interesting.
Exactly. And it's real. I mean, the technology is just getting leaps and bounds. They have a laser dot on them, so you can practice. We can do shooting without going to the range now. You know, we use the same guns, just put the laser on there with that, and we can do indoors, just practice, draw, and shoot, don't shoot situations, scenarios, less lethal force scenarios, all using these type of weapons.
How are you going to be able to use that kind of thing, those types of things in school resourcing and things like that?
Well, a couple of years ago, we trained the school staff what to expect when you call 911 in an active shooter and how that's going to pan out for the whole day.
Yeah.
And so now what we're talking about is, as the schools go through renovation, we can go out there and use those buildings as a training for us. So we're familiar with the buildings when we get there. School staff can be out there. And we've talked about a curriculum for students as well, of going through and grade level appropriate. We made an obligation to the school district that we would be in every classroom within the next year at the school, every classroom at every district or every school, that we would teach the kids what to expect when somebody comes on campus, what to expect when the officers come on campus. But the whole idea behind the school resource officer was just the trust.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a safety. Absolutely, safety is important. It's also building trust in the community, and that's what I think people miss out of this is, I was a DARE officer and a school resource officer. 20 years later, I had people coming to me going, you were my DARE officer, It's an impactful thing. And the kids now are starting to lose trust in some of the things we see nationwide. What better way to do it than to have them just see us walking down the hallways every day?
Yeah.
How you doing, guys? People ask me, well, what's a typical day? And Paul Campbell, our school resource officer, his typical day is high five, fist pumps, having conversations with kids, being a counselor, a sounding board. People said, oh, my God, you're going to put school resource officers out there to arrest kids. Paul Campbell's been there 2 years at 7 schools and made a total of 5 arrests. Wow. So to say that is not an accurate depiction of what we see it here.
Wow.
So, and with partnerships like Sierra Pacific, it makes sense to do things like that with community, They're helping the schools. They're helping us train. It just comes together well.
How is Sierra Pacific doing? I always see all the lights are on down there. Got the steam coming out in the morning. It looks like it's
Oh, that's where
going
the
well.
steam's coming from. Okay,
Yes,
very cool.
We are busy. I am still currently hiring, looking for great applicants, people that want to come down. I'm going to be hiring for additional office staff here shortly, so I'm excited about that. But yes, busy, busy, busy.
Good, nice company to work for. Good to have Sierra Pacific in the community, of course. Jacqueline Early from Sierra Pacific, Shelton Police Chief Darren Moody, talking about that great community grant that SPA gave. Did you give it to the city, to the police department, or how does it
It
get?
came to the police department.
Okay.
Very nice.
And like I said, Mike Fiola and Lisa Perry just got together and said, what can we do? What can we do to help you train in with the schools?
And when you go, you say you're going to be in every school. You're going to just introduce yourselves, or you say talk about active shooter?
Well, I give the school board credit because the school board stepped up this year and said, Alex came to me and said, what can you do from now until the end of the school year? And so we will be providing 3 school resource officers to the schools and for the rest of the year. These are extra shifts for the officers. So the school board had said, we'll pay for it. Our officers stepped up and said, we'll cover it. And we'll work an extra day on our weeks to go out and cover the schools. Next year, the proposal is that they will be full-time officers. So they'll be at the schools every day. But the other idea of being at every classroom is teaching. Me, Mike Fiola, the school resource officer, just teaching the kids, educating them. Our kids are a lot smarter than we give them credit for.
They really are.
And to say that we shouldn't be in the classroom, at least telling them about safety, telling them about what to expect, we're missing the boat.
Yeah.
And we need to go in there. And it's grade level appropriate. I mean, we're not going to teach a first grader the same thing we're going to teach a senior in high school.
Right.
But, you know, it makes sense. That school resource officer at some point is going to be on that campus, and the kid's going to walk up to him and go, you know what I heard at lunch today? And he's going to get a chance to follow up on that now instead of at midnight when it posts on Facebook.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. Darren Moody, Jacqueline Early here, conversating about some big things that are happening with the Shelton School District, the city of Shelton, and the help with Sierra Pacific. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see y'all.
Thanks.